Dear friends and colleagues, nice to meet you again at my YouTube channel, Вадим, Сирота, banking expert. So, multipolar financial order is come into being. Is there any existential threat to United States dominance worldwide? There are two competing monetary currency blocs. One is led by the United States. It's based on neoliberal and austerity agenda and deindustrialization process and other things. And on the other hand, there is the other bloc of mostly Eurasian countries led by China, not only China, but China serving not as a leader, but a bridge, I'll explain later, and other countries, including Russia, which based more on self-reliance, on production capacities development, and on industrial policy. And the other one moment, the Germany, which is caught between the economic dependencies and its political framework of transatlantic integration. There is, so I'll propose you some topics to discuss during our current meeting, and nice to see you again. Share this video please to your friends and colleagues. Subscribe to my channel Vadim Sirota banking expert, and tip the bottom like please. So let's start. Against the background of Russia and Ukraine's war, it became obvious that sanction regime doesn't function entirely successful. It isn't. The results are a little bit unexpected, and it can't be unforeseeable. It can't be foreseen. This may be partially explained by the fact that nowadays we are moving to new multipolar financial order. What does it mean? That the previous financial order was based on the United States dollar's dominance. And it is very interesting research by James Kennan Galbraith, well-known American economist, the professor of the University of Texas in Austin, and he researched this issue and published blog and the dollar system in a multipolar world. Let's take a look into the history. After the Second World War, we could observe the establishment of Keynesian-based economic order, which strengthened the dominance of United States dollar. This was explained by the economic benefits of the United States after the Second World War, its military power, and the capital control system existed in such period was also based on United States currency. Yes, but in 1970s, we observed a little bit contradictory process. The fundamental factors underlying the United States dollar dominance switched to opposed factors. According to the author, the currency casino was opened. It may be explained by the fact that the dominance of United States currency was based from this moment more on financialization, on neoliberal and agenda, then on development of productive capacities, capital control. It was based on free movement of financial flows, on financial sector deregulation, and the shift in the underlying economic paradigm resulted in the great financialization of existing financial order and the dominance of the currency of the United States in such financialized, more financialized order. It may be featured by deindustrialization. In 1970s, policy makers, decision makers faced a contradiction to choice. They couldn't achieve at the same time three different aims of tasks of economic policy. They needed to make a hard choice. First of all, they wanted to guarantee for high employment to safeguard industrial base. And they wanted, the second one, they want to stabilize price to fight back inflation. And the third one, to safeguard the throne of currency throne of the United States dollars. And the choice was made in favor of the latest. The Walker, head of the Fed Reserve, reforms was directed to strengthen financialization, to promote the dollar dominance at the cost of industry, at the cost of labor, and we could observe the transformation to the neoliberal agenda when the developing countries were forced to borrow on the deep Western financial markets, and they gained the opportunity to invest, to flee their capitals in the times of financial crisis into United States Treasury bonds, given the free capital movement, yes, and at the same time, the leading principle was formed in 1970s and 1990s. There is no alternative. It's a little bit similar to Fukuyama predictions about the end of the history, but in the finance area. Yes, there is no alternative to existing financial order based on United States dollar, on deep financial markets and financial centers and hubs of United States and Great Britain. There is no alternative, especially against the background of the collapse of the Soviet Union, of the debt crisis in Global South. So the fundamental principles of United States dollar dominance has changed considerably. At the same time, currently, even before the war in Ukraine, we could observe an interesting situation. It was a competition of rising competition of two currency and monetary blocks. So the first bloc is the Western-led bloc based on deep financial markets, on free capital movements, on neoliberal economic agenda, on deindustrialization. It was led by the United States of America, and we could observe the crisis of this model, a great financial crisis 2007, 2008, and pandemic COVID crisis, recession also sent signs of a breach in such model. Yes, but there is alternative in the other currency block. But what is core, according to Professor Galbraith, and in my opinion, that the attitude towards industry policy, towards production capacity, is the key difference between two blocks. One bloc led by United States of America, and the other maybe led by China, including Russia, India, etc. But this bloc, the Asian Eurasian countries, relies on self-sufficiency, on development of production capacities, on industrial policy, etc. And due against the background of, to tell the truth, the abuse by the United States of its sanction power, given the dominance of the United States dollars in world financial order, this bloc tended to develop the alternatives to financial infrastructure, to payment infrastructure systems, and moreover, it not only needed, it currently needs, according to Professor Galbraith, its financial reserve instrument, common financial reserve. It may be common bond issuance, following sample of the joint borrowing schemes, but this common reserve framework may be based on the issue of common bonds and financial commitments by the countries participating in the Eurasian bloc, according weighted up according to their size and productive capacity, maybe in terms of GDP. So the China is a leader at the same time, according to its tremendous size of its gross domestic product, maybe. So we could observe the rising competition between two different philosophies of economy development and consequent regimes of world finance functioning. Yes, but let me conclude that we won't observe the immediate fall of dollar-based financial order and more dollar-euro, to tell the truth, in more dollar-euro financial order when euro serve as a junior partner, maybe explained in such way. This system won't immediately fall because of deep financial market of the United States. But we will observe the competition of this existing models. It's the most delicious aspect of current moment in the development of the world economy. Yes, it will be a rising competition of different paradigms of functioning. And in such competition, dollar is considered to hold its leading positions. At the same time, China will serve not only as a leader of the emerging economics bloc, yes, but it will serve as a bridge. What's more important than its leadership in the later bloc? China will serve as a bridge between these two competitive blocs, as the fixed point of the multipolarity. What is the core element of this financial relationships development worldwide? Yes. Not a fierce competition, but China as mediator, yes. And at the same time, the Germany, the leading European economy, is supposed to find itself trapped between its economic interests and political institutional framework. Yes, it means that Germany is actively involved in transatlantic military and political cooperation. At the same time, it has strong dependencies from Russia export of fossil fuels and from China production capacities at the same time. So the contradiction exists. On one hand, is Germany political and financial ties with the Western bloc are important for this country. At the same time, it needs Russian commodities and China's market. So, to paraphrase, to safeguard its competitiveness, Germany needs China's productive capacities and Russian fossil fuels. It's a very important and serious issue to resolve, and it will come into the mainstream of the European agenda. The way in which Germany will resolve this issue, it will be dominant and it will significantly influence the process of the European integration and the future of the common Europe project. Notice this, please. And as for the Western bloc, based on deep financialization and neoliberal agenda, we can predict that it will be observed the decline of process of seeking financial rent, and it may be predicted the shift towards more industrialization in this Western bloc led by the United States. But currently, the transformation of the global financial order, in my opinion, I formed this opinion after reading this research of James Kenneth Galbraith, the attitude towards industrial policy, towards the production services, towards the financial rent seeking is the fundamental reason of two alternative models of financial order. So in the short term, there is no existential threat to world dominance of the United States dollars, but in the long run, I was not so positive. I'll try to avoid positive prognosis about sunny perspectives of dollar-based financial order. It depends from the changes in dominant economic paradigm in the Western world. So currently, I have told you everything that I wanted today. See you again. Bye bye. Have a nice evening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Вадим Сирота, banking expert.